Chapter 3: Typology of Learners with Physical Needs. I am Kate Vosora Calves, and I am tasked to report about the learners with physical disabilities. Physical disabilities may have an impact on some or all activities to a greater or lesser extent. Students with physical disabilities may have problems related to movement, posture, like sitting and standing, grasping or manipulating objects, communication, eating, perception, reflex movements, and/or automatic motricity. The initial barrier experienced by many students with physical disabilities is physically accessing the learning environment itself. For many students with physical disabilities, the inaccessibility of buildings and surrounding areas is a problem. So there are 4 major categories of disabilities. First is the visual impairment. Next is the hearing impairment, speech impairment, and multiple physical impairment. Now let's talk about first the visual impairment. Visual impaired children may be defined as those children who suffer from the impaired conditions, difficulties, and deficiencies present in their visual organs, which make them different from children with normal visions to extent of requiring special education provision. Visual impairment is a term experts use to describe any kind of vision loss. It is a diseased ability to see a degree that causes problems not fixable by usual means, such as glasses. Whether it is someone who cannot see at all or someone who has partial vision loss. But some people are completely blind, but many others have what called legal blindness. So there are types of visual impairments. First is the hyperopia or farsightedness. It is where you can see objects far away but not near. It is a condition in which visual images come to a factor behind the retina of the eye, and vision is better for distant than near objects. So the cause of this is the size of the eyeball is too shorter. Next is myopia or nearsightedness. It is where you can see objects for near but not far away. It is a condition in which the visual images come to a focus in front of the retina of the eye, resulting especially in defective vision of distant objects. The cause of it is the size of the eyeball is too longer. And next is the astigmatism. When we say astigmatism, it is a defect of an optical system such as a lens, causing rays from a point to fail to meet in the focal point, resulting in a blurred and imperfect image. It is where you cannot focus at one object regularly. Muna siya ang kanang mo focus ka og usa ka images but ang imong makita is blurred. And cause of it is the irregularity in cornea of eye surface. Next is color blindness. It is a problem with cone cells of the eye. Disease ability to differentiate between colors. So, genetic causes of it is when in the natal, prenatal, and postnatal. We're familiar about the color blindness. It is where kanang mukita ka og color or image that the color is orange but ang imuhang makita is color yellow. It is where you cannot differentiate between any colors. And next is retinopathy of prematurity. This condition is common in children who were premature babies that required high concentration of oxygen birth. Scarring and detachment of the retina can result from this condition. Next is the macular degeneration. It is a lost central vision and two objects look like one. So, muna siya ka nang mutanaw tag objects like duha ka buok or three ka images but ang imo ra makita is one. Next is glaucoma. It is a disease of the eye marked by increased pressure with the eyeball that can result in damage to the optic disc and gradual loss of vision. It is due to the blockage of the fluids that normally circulate within the eye. Glaucoma is also a deficiency in formation of eyes. Next is diabetic retinopathy. Diabetes usually interferes with the blood supply to the retina. It may result in serious visual impairment like total blindness. The cause is anang sakit nga diabetes and it may cause serious vision impairment, total blindness. Next is cataract. So we're familiar of cataract and it is a condition or state of cloudiness in the lens into a distorted or incomplete vision. A clouding of the lens of the eye or of its surrounding transparent membrane that obstructs the passage of light. And it's because of the neurological vision loss of both eyes. Next is amblyopia. Amblyopia is where one eye vision loss due to muscle imbalance. So, reduced visual typically is one eye that result from the brain suppressing input from the affected eye due to unequal visual signals from eye, leading to poor development of visual acuity in the affected eye. So, child sees two images of the one object. So, muna siya ang lazy eye. Cross eye. It represents an inability of the individual to focus on the same object with both eyes simultaneously. Last is the coloboma. Coloboma is a condition in which the central areas of the retina of a newborn are found incomplete in their formation. It may be serious impairment. So, in visual impairment, there are also causes of it. So, the cause of visual impairment is first is transfer of genes associated from the parents. So, kalahi. Then, careless adopted by pregnant mothers, mishaps and incidents, unfavorable conditions, eye infection and eye diseases, evil effects of the fatal disease, improper postures adopted at workplace, and reading, writing, and working in defective and improper lights. So, one dyan ni siya nga example nga makakause of visual impairment like magbasa ka with an improper light. Next impairment is the hearing impairment. When we say hearing impairment, it is also called as hearing loss. So it makes it hard to hear or understand sounds. So this happens when there is a problem with one or more parts of the ear, the nerves coming from the ears or the hearing part of the brain. So some people are born with hearing loss, but hearing loss may come on slowly over time or show up later in life. So naay usahay nga hearing loss like mugawas lang siya if kanang idaran na ta or kanang tiguang na ta. It runs also with some families or kalahi, or maybe caused by birth defects, infections, or medicines that can damage our ear. So, there are also types of hearing impairments. First is the conductive loss. So, it refers to disease in sound caused by a problem in the outer or middle ear. So, in the conductive loss, ang atong outer o middle ear ang maapektuhan. And next is the sensorineural loss. It refers to a problem located in the inner ear or along the nerve pathway between the inner ear and the brain. So, mao ni siya ang ato ang inner ear padong sa ato ang brain. So, in the sensorineural loss, mao ni siya ang maapektuhan diri. Last is the mixed loss. So, both conductive loss and sensorial loss. So, it refers to the conductive loss and sensorineural loss occurring at the same time. So, both the conductive and sensorineural loss ang naapektuhan. So, ang ato ang outer, the middle, and the inner ear mo ay naapektuhan. And next is, there are age of hearing impairment. First is the prelingual and the postlingual. In prelingual, it is the loss of hearing speech and language development. So, example is a deaf child. A deaf child is one who is either born deaf or who lost his or her hearing early childhood before acquiring knowledge. In prelingual, mo ni siya ang bata nga wala kabate or deaf na jud siya, usa siya naka-acquire og language. Most prelingual hearing impairment is due to an acquired condition, usually either disease or trauma. Next is postlingual, the loss of hearing after spontaneous speech and language development. So, it is a deafness which develops after the acquisition of speech and language. Usually, kasagaran sa mga kanang inaning nga condition is after the age of 6. So, mo ni siya ang kanang mga bata nga naka-acquire na og language but usa pa sila na experience of deafness. Next is how hearing impairment occurs. So, the causes of hearing impairment includes a gradual build-up of airwax, air infection, and abnormal bone growth or tumors, ruptured eardrum, and damage to the inner ear. And that would be all about my topic. And for the remaining two categories of disabilities, the speech impairment and the multiple physical impairment would be discussed by Miss Eva for the continuation. Thank you.